The whispering static of Channel 404, the old Zenith television, sat in the attic like a dusty tombstone, a relic from the pre-digital age. I found it while clearing out my grandmother's house. Its wooden cabinet was scratched, its screen a curved, milky eye. My friends had just dared me to spend the night in the empty house. Stupid challenge. I dragged the Zenith down to the living room, plugged it in, and hoped for some ambient noise. The power-on sequence was a long, wheezing groan, followed by a shower of white noise. The sound was thick, like rain on gravel. I flipped through the channels, finding only the expected empty slots until I hit 404. It wasn't empty. The screen was completely black, that there was a sound. It wasn't the roar of static. It was something low, a gentle, rhythmic hiss underlaid with an unmistakable whispering. I leaned closer, turning the volume up, my heart starting to thump against my ribs. The whispers weren't words I could recognize. They were a rapid, slurry jumble, like a dozen people trying to speak the same phrase at once, slightly out of sync. It felt less like sound entering my ears and more like a vibration settling directly into the back of my skull. Then a voice separated itself from the chorus, clear, dry, and terrifyingly close. "You're not supposed to be watching this." I froze, adrenaline surging. I spun around, checking the empty room, the hallway. Nothing. It had come from the speaker. I lunged for the channel dial, but my hand stopped. The fear was overwhelming, yes, but it was being countered by a cold, sharp curiosity. This wasn't a broadcast. It was something else. I turned the volume down slightly and waited. The whispering returned, and then the dry voice again. This time a question. "Do you know what 404 means?" I knew. It was the HTTP status code for "not found." The voice seemed to chuckle, a dry, papery sound. "Exactly. This is what's not found. The things that didn't make the cut. The moments, the people, the failures that the world conveniently deleted." As it spoke, a fleeting image flashed on the black screen. A single frame. It was a photograph of a living room eerily similar to the one I was sitting in, but the furniture was arranged differently, and there was a figure sitting in my exact spot. Its face was a blur of dark, heavy shadow, its limbs too long. It was looking right at the camera, right at me. Panic finally took over. I slammed my hand onto the power button. The Zenith didn't turn off. The black screen remained. The low hiss of the static continued, and the whispering chorus grew louder, almost insistent now. I could hear distinct sounds in the slurry, a baby crying, a woman screaming a single, truncated word, the wet, sickening sound of something breaking. I yanked the power cord from the wall. The television on. The image of the black-faced figure flashed again, held for a full second, and then dissolved into the deep, light-swallowing black. The whispering static was louder than ever, now accompanied by a sharp, rhythmic tap-tap that seemed to be coming from the wooden casing of the TV itself. I backed away, stumbling over the old rug. The main voice returned, now edged with a cold, almost wounded malice. "You can't just unplug us. We were not found for a reason. And now you have found us." I ran. I didn't stop until I was outside, breathing the cold night air. I stayed with a friend that night. The next morning, I couldn't bring myself to call a junk removal service. I had to know if the TV was still on. I drove back to the house, heart hammering. The Zenith was still sitting in the living room. It was off, completely dead. I looked at the screen. The milky eye of the old glass was utterly dark, reflecting nothing. But on the glass, precisely where the black figure's shadowed face had been, was a single, tiny, dark smudge. I touched it and it was dry like old soot. I knew, with a bone-deep certainty, that the Zenith didn't just broadcast the things that were not found. It was looking for them, finding them and recording them. And now it had a news segment. I tried to get rid of the television. I tried to burn it, smash it, bury it. Nothing worked. It always reappeared, sometimes in the basement, sometimes back in the attic. It sits in my own garage now, covered by a tarp, but I know it's still there. Sometimes, late at night when the house is silent, I can hear a low, familiar hiss coming from the garage. A sound that gets progressively louder until it is joined by a frantic, jumbled, whispering chorus, and I have to force myself not to check the channel dial on my modern flat screen. I have to believe that the things that are not found will stay not found, unless, of course, you've already given them a permanent private channel. I checked my web browser's history a few days ago. The last search entry, which I swear I didn't type, was "How do I delete channel 404?"